Right. Today, I like to talk a bit about this strategic Bitcoin reserve, a bold vision for America's financial future. Now, in July, then Republican candidate Donald Trump made headlines by pledging to establish a strategic national Bitcoin reserve, predicting that Bitcoin could eventually surpass gold's 17 trillion market capitalization. Now, this bold statement was delivered during his appearance at the Bitcoin 2024 conference, where he positioned Bitcoin as a crucial asset for America's economic future. Now, following Trump's victory in the presidential elections on November the 5th, Wyoming Senator Cynthia Lummis, an outspoken Republican, Trump supporter, and prominent crypto advocate, announced her intent to introduce legislation enabling the US government to purchase 1 million Bitcoins. Right? So this proposed strategic reserve would be held for at least 20 years, reflecting a long-term vision for Bitcoin roles in safeguarding national financial stability. Now, international interest in Bitcoin as a reserve has also been growing. In November, Brazilian lawmakers proposed a bill recommending the nations bolster its treasury with Bitcoin, joining the list of growing countries exploring crypto adoption and so at a sovereign level. Now, similarly, in Europe, several Russian lawmakers advocate for inclusion of cryptocurrency in their state treasury. Together with China, Russia and China has in a way allowed their citizens to own Bitcoins right now. Previously, China did not allow that. So adding to this momentum as well, a Polish presidential candidate recently argued for Poland to stockpile Bitcoin as part of its national reserves. So before we move further, I think it's also important to know what is a strategic reserve. Now, strategic reserve typically consists of critical assets that safeguard a nation's financial and economic security. These reserves often include cash, gold, and securities. Now, advocates for adding Bitcoin to the US Treasury argue that Bitcoin's fixed supply of 21 million coins and its decentralized nature offer unique advantages, including serving as a hedge against inflation and the risk of currency debasement. Now, in recent interview, Trump reiterated his commitment to the concept of Bitcoin reserve. We are talking about recent. It's not something before he won the elections. It's after he won the elections. People are still checking whether he's going to keep to his promise or not. Now, he said, we're going to do something great with crypto because we don't want China or anybody else to get ahead of us, he stated. Now, one thing's for sure, this is a follow-up. Now, he is definitely investing into crypto. His companies is investing into cryptos, and this is something I believe will continue. This momentum will continue. Now, when pressed on whether the US might create a Bitcoin reserve akin to strategic petroleum reserves, he answered affirmatively, signaling strong support for the initiative. Okay, so hopefully you understand what strategic reserve right now. So next, let's explore the current Bitcoin holdings by the US and proposed legislation. Now, US government currently hold 208,109 Bitcoins valued at over 20 billion, according to Arkham Intelligence. However, a strategic Bitcoin reserves, as envisioned by Trump, would require far greater investments and would hinge on the passage of the Bitcoin Act. Now, this proposed legislation calls for the US Treasury to establish a national Bitcoin reserve by acquiring 1 million Bitcoins over 5 years with annual purchases of 200,000 Bitcoins, right? Now, although the bill has gained some momentum due to Republican control of Congress and backing from influential industry leaders, significant hurdles remain, okay? First of all, the Republican majority in the Senate, which decisively falls short of the 60 seats, need to overcome filibusters, making bipartisan support essential for the bill's passage. You need lawmakers from both sides, not only the Republicans, you need from the Democrats as well. Okay, so this political dynamic reduces the likelihood of the bill being approved within the first 100 days of the new Congress. So that you need to understand. Okay, so next, we need to explore the economic implications and market dynamics as well. At the current prices, implementing the Bitcoin Act would cost the government an estimated 100 billion. So, but is it as simple as that? No, because such a large-scale acquisition would likely lead to market volatility, with traders and institutions potentially front-running the government by driving up prices in anticipation of purchases only to sell and rebuy at lower levels, right? So this is not something that's going to be easily executed. If everyone gets to know about this, it's just like before the ETF will launch, they saw the applications and then the language of the SECs, and practically you saw Bitcoin prices started moving up without even the ETF approval. Just the name of BlackRock is enough to push the price up, and this is what we call front running, right? So this kind of phenomenon could lead to significant short-term price swings. So do expect a lot of volatility. We are not talking about 1, 2 Bitcoins. We're talking about 1 million Bitcoins, and this uh that is bought, right? That is bought within, I would call this a short period, because 5 years is not something very long, right? So this is like, oh, you know, uh, you want to buy 1 million Bitcoins, 200,000 every year. How they're gonna buy it? I don't know. I don't know. OTC kind of thing that can happen, but nevertheless, if the exchanges and the people refuses to sell, and you have also companies trying to buy as much as possible, and you have like Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, I mean BlackRock also competing for it, it's not going to be easy. All right, that's why I said in short term, price swings. But in the longer term, if Bitcoin Act is passed and the Bitcoin achieves parity with gold market capitalization of 17.9 trillion, because I got to need to tell you one thing. Part of the Bitcoin Act is to sell some of gold as well to move into Bitcoin. All right. Whether that's going is going to pass entirely, that's a question mark. But think about this, okay? So if that happens, if it stays at 17.9 trillion, Bitcoin's price would need to grow nearly 8.86 times its current level, which brings it to a little over 900K per Bitcoin, right? So this potential for exponential growth underscores why Bitcoin advocates see it as a transformative asset, but also highlights the considerable financial and political risk involved as well. Okay, so hopefully you understand the significance of this. So let's wait a bit. There's this possibility, all this kind of good news is driving prices up. Now, Bitcoin has made a new high today, right? At the 105,000 mark. Now, all this kind of news, whether it's going to pass or not, is a question mark. Still is a question mark, even though the chances are there. I still call it a question mark, because until we see everything moving in motion, uh, things we just have to see it for real. Just cannot believe. But what could actually happen is that you have YouTubers, you have all these KOLs, you have news portals hyping about this possibility. Everything could fall flat. Everything could fall flat. We are not talking about a single person's decision here. We're talking about the decision of the Congress. Okay, so markets, all these market makers could actually take advantage of this and create a swing, a big dip. Okay, as long as the drop is not extremely heavy selling, and the subsequent price action is deemed to be consolidative, then okay, the chances are there for Bitcoin to move up. Okay, overall, looking at the relationship between Ethereum and Bitcoin, at the current moment, Bitcoin could still be moving until it comes to a point where Ethereum makes a new all-time high. Then probably you would see officially everybody recognize that we are in the alt season. So just wait a bit. I think the market is still there, but do take note, right? I've already mentioned, with all the euphoria, is when you are trading cryptocurrencies, have a target in mind, number one, and learn to take profits and protect your trades. That's the most important thing, because these are still it's still a very, very volatile asset class. Okay, so with that, that's a report for today, the fundamental report.